The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
I say it's time we focus on what really matters. The games. Who's with me?
Hello and welcome to episode 44 of the PlayStation Experience podcast, The Wicked to PSVG Prime's Wizard of Oz, and PSVG's premier PlayStation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Seth, and I'm joined this week by the big boss man, Donnie. How's it going, Donnie?
Greetings, Koopalings. What's going on?
Koopalings? What's a Koopaling? We don't know what Koopalings are. Yeah.
Shack life, man. I'm excited.
Greetings.
To be here in PlayStation land.
Greetings, Freakers.
Freakers.
Yeah. The PlayStation version of Koopalings.
I hope not.
Before we get into things too deeply here, I want to take a moment and thank our Patreon producers, our patrons. Our producers over at patreon.com/PSVG are Coach Hulk, Edwin Callow, Barry Cathcart, Josh Borboni, Chris M., Devin Tyus, Paul Calicote, Kyle Hyman, and Benny Liu.
Benji, what's up?
So that's the first time I've read Benny's name. So welcome to the PSVG universe. Thank you for your contribution, and thank you to anybody who listens to the show, whether you're a patron or not. All right, so Donnie, you're joining me on PSXP because because you usually have a lot to say anyway, and especially because lately you've been playing a lot more PlayStation than I'd say you have. Probably over the last month, you've probably played more PlayStation than you have in the previous 6 months. Year? Yeah.
At least. Since God of War?
Okay, yeah, about a year. Well, you played Spider-Man.
Oh, that's true. Since Spider-Man. That's right. I've played more PlayStation 4 in the past year since I beat Spider-Man. All combined in the past month. Sorry.
In the past month.
Yeah.
So staying with the regular PlayStation console and Days Gone, have you beaten Days Gone?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about it. I really wanted to talk to Kyle. No offense to you, just Kyle's beaten it, and I wanted to talk to him who's played it. And because I was interested in it, and the FOMO kind of got a hold of me now. I know a lot has been said about this game. I'm glad I held off. I'm glad I'm coming in late, right? Because it's a very divisive and polarizing game.
What sounds like from everything I hear, the reviews were written based on the pre-release code.
Sure, that's how it works.
I think the patches have really improved it. The pre-release version of the game was broken.
Yes,
which led to a lot of the poor reviews.
Yeah. So, and it's a weird thing. But I think a lot of our listeners have listened to me for a long time would understand me when I say this. All of the polarizing reviews kind of made me want to play it more.
Yeah, for sure.
I was almost intrigued. I was like, wait a minute, I've got to play this game. Everybody has a unique opinion on it. There's got to be something there. And I did get it. I went and got the game, traded in some games that I wasn't playing. Yoshi, to be specific, I traded that in towards it. I got it and I got home. It's an interesting game. Now, I'm going to say things that probably aren't as positive as Kyle and Josh. But before I say the negative things, I do want to say that it's a good game. I kind of like it. It's fine. I think a lot of the negative conversation or buzz or headlines about this game are being viewed. They're being made in relation to other PlayStation first-party games. And whether that's fair or not, that's definitely something that's going to happen. That's just valid. That's how the world works, right? Yep. It's not going to be compared to SteamWorld Dig. It's going to be compared to Spider-Man and God of War because that's what it's a first-party exclusive. Right. We've been waiting for a long time. They've been talking about it a lot, so I get that. Also, I think a lot of the knee-jerk reaction or fan reaction has been to low review scores. So all of that is in relation to a scale. and where other games fit on that scale. So I'm going to try not to do that, if you don't mind. I really don't care.
Oh, for sure.
Kind of let that go. Devin has converted me the other way. But I want to start off this way, and I would say that the first 2 hours with this game, I absolutely hated it, and I was willing to take it back. I remember I was there with my I don't know, 120 minutes into the game, and I was like, this is awful. I don't want to play this game at all. It's not doing anything for me. It's so Last of Us in so many ways, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. So you might be listening and be like, you love The Last of Us, but it's different. It's like a knockoff, like a cloned version of it's not The Last of Us. Right?
It's like what are those games on mobile where it's like it's not a Call of Duty game, but it's like
Call of Honor
or whatever.
Kind of.
It's like it's fine, but it's not the thing.
Not the same thing.
Yeah.
And the early story beats are very Last of Us. Like you could almost they could almost be in the same universe. Really. There's like the zombie outbreak, the city collapses, there's this guy and his girlfriend, and they get separated, and he's trying to find her, and time passes, and the world's decrepit and decayed, and that's very Last of Us, right? It's almost like the same premise.
Yeah.
The gameplay action inside of moments is very Last of Us. There's you can play the game any way you want, and I imagine as you play it longer and you upgrade your weapons, you'll play it differently. But early on, I would say the game really strongly encourages, if not forces you to play it stealthy.
Okay.
And when you are playing it stealthy, it plays like The Last of Us. It's a lot of throwing bottles, throwing rocks, coming up, sneaking up behind people, taking them out, like planning out your actions and making your way through buildings, through doors, through floors. That's very Last of Us. If you've ever played it, you're like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's fantastic. That's really good stuff. It was until I started getting into that, and really as the game started to open up and I started to upgrade some things, start to do some things, I really kind of warmed up to it. I want to say maybe like hour 5 or 6, 7, I was like, I kind of like this. This is pretty good. It's like open world Last of Us. It was like you had this giant open world and you're going around and doing these Last of Us moments, and it's kind of good. My real issues with the game, just to get these out of the way, that's not why I came here. I don't want to come here just to crap on Days Gone. But some of the things I wanted to say was the story feels really disjointed. The main narrative between Deacon and his wife is really good. And if it was like an Uncharted story that focused on that and you did that, man, I feel like it'd be a really good game, like a better game. But there are all of these branching paths that, and again, I'm not reviewing the game. I'm not a professional game reviewer. I'm just giving you my impressions.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to say that it's weird the way they do this. There's all these side paths and side branches, so you can complete like 68% of a side story. You're like, what does that mean? Right. What am I doing? You got to keep doing it, right? Like the whole point is that there are all these different arcs, but ultimately to end where I gave up on it maybe about the 10, 12 hour mark.
Okay.
After clearing out, 6, 8 tunnels, after clearing out 6, 8 villages, after going and fetching 6, 8 different points and driving all the way across the map to get 6, 8 different things and come all the way back to get 6, 8 different things. There was a point in the game, I think it was coupled with 2 things. There was a point in the game where I realized I was like, I'm not having as much fun as I was when I first started doing this. And then there was also I had the knowledge, like the bias, if you will, of knowing that Kyle was like, this is a 30-hour game. There's 25 more hours of this and story before you get to the end. I was like, yeah, I think I'm done. I kind of done. So I went back and traded it in because I wanted to play PSVR things, which we're going to get into. That's what I used the money for. So I got out of this game pretty early. It reminded me a lot of Red Dead.
Okay.
Like a lot. And that's really why I wanted to talk to you. I was like, I really would, you remember in the Discord, I was like, I'd really like to talk to you and Kyle if we can set this up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because I kind of think you might like this game a lot. It's pretty fun. It's slow. And that's the other part of it. I really wish I could play Days Gone and focus on the main narrative. And I really wish I could play Days Gone and not have to refill my bike, not have to continually repair my melee weapon, not have to constantly fight. Like the inventory management is there, like, and that's a survival horror trope. Like that's a thing that comes with it. And there are a lot of games that I like about that. But in an open world game, I feel like it doesn't make as much sense as in like a narrow corridor game where you can kind of plan around it.
Right.
So there were things like that just felt disjointed. The voice acting, I think, probably might be the thing that threw me out of the game more than anything.
Okay.
Deacon is a really neat character. I really like Sons of Anarchy, and I've already said I love The Last of Us, and that's really what this game is, and that's not news. But it's weird because in the cutscenes and everything, like he's genuine and he's sweet and he's like smart and he's concerned, and he comes off as I don't know, like thoughtful. And then in the gameplay, when you're chasing down the biker for the 8th time, he's just screaming and gurgling and growling at everybody constantly. Mm-hmm. And it's really weird when you're talking to people on your bike. Well, I wanted to talk to Kyle about this and get his thoughts, because it's weird. You're driving your bike and he starts screaming at his radio, that makes sense, right? The bike's loud. You got to scream.
Yeah.
So he'll be talking to people. And he'll be talking to somebody that might even be on his bike, and they'll be talking just fine. And he'll just start screaming at them out of nowhere. And it's not like, obviously that's not a big deal. That has nothing really to do with playing the game at all. But it's one of those things that if you like catch on to it, if it kind of breaks your immersion, and then you do it 10, 12, 15 more times, it really starts to bother you. Like,
right.
Oh my God.
Well, you talked about Spider-Man when they made a big deal about when they recorded his audio. They recorded the same lines as if he was standing still or as if he was swinging. So when he's having a conversation with Mary Jane over the phone or whatever while he's swinging, he sounds winded. He sounds different than if he's having the same conversation while he's just standing on top of the building.
Makes sense. And when I played that game, I never, it all flowed. I never picked up on any difference because it sounded right.
Right.
Days Gone didn't sound right to me.
Right.
And it really bothered me. I'm playing on base PS4. It's all I own. I own a PS4 Slim. I did upgrade somewhere mid-gen, and it plays well. It's a little framey, but it's for what it is. It's a beautiful game, by the way, on a base PS4, no less. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. So I'd expect performance, dips. Like we're on to pros and X's, and we're looking forward to the next thing. So, and it offers a lot to do and a lot to play. But like I said, after doing so many nests, after clearing so many tunnels, there was this one mission that really scorned me. I drove all the way across the map, and you can unlock fast travel, which is actually a neat, and I would call that a positive in how they do it. I actually like, but I drove all the way across this map to go to an item that I got. I drove all the way back to the map, and I saw the person where I gave the item, and they were just like, thanks. And that was the end of the mission. And you're just like, what? Why did I just do this? Why is this even included? Like you would expect that to be cut, right? Like there's nothing here.
Right.
There's this really great mission where you go and you rescue. Is it too early to spoil anything from this game? Like, are spoilers allowed?
Spoilers are allowed.
Okay. There's this really, I'll be generic with it. How about that? I guess
it's been on just a little over a month. So
there's this point in the game. It's a minor mission. It's not a main story arc, right? So at worst, I'm spoiling like a side quest. Okay. There's this point in the game where you go and you rescue, or you basically discover this girl who's been living in the apocalypse the entire time. And she's fretting from this. She's been living this existence, and it's really touching. It's great. And she has a cool story, and like her parents are gone, and she's been basically surviving among the zombies for a while, and you rescue her out and you take her to this camp. Then you follow up on the same side story path where you literally just go check on her, and you go there and you're like, hey, are you doing well? And she's like, they make me work really hard. And he's like, yeah, it sucks. And that's the end of the mission. And it's like, that's not a mission. That's just exposition. And it's just, there are things like that are weird and I only say this again. I like the game. I think it's a good game. I don't care about what reviewers are saying. This game is better than most games. It's just not as good as the bar that Sony has set. And I don't think that's news. Right? Like I'm not breaking news there. I think most people come to agree with that, but it's those types of things like that I think kind of hold it back. Cause it's just weird. You're playing this game. You're like, what just happened? And so it's those types of things that really kind of turned me off, but it was good. It's really good. And I wanted to say that it wasn't the only reason I got rid of it. It wasn't just because I didn't like it. It's just, I paid $60 for it. And I was like, it's just, it's not there. And I probably would have been better served to wait. And I kind of feel like this game might get a resurgence. Like with the sale that's coming up and Black Friday and everything that's about to come, I'm sure it'll probably go free from PlayStation Plus before the next gen starts. I imagine a lot of people are going to get in on this game on the ground floor, and you're going to hear like this positive swell. They're going to come back and be like, wait a minute, everybody said this game is bad. But it's weird because like to talk about review scores, like a 6.5 isn't bad. Like a 2.5 is bad. A 4 is bad. 6 is like average, good.
In a landscape where every month there's 2 9.0 plus games.
And that's the problem.
And people have limited budgets and limited time.
Exactly.
Why are you going to play a 6.5 or a 7 if...
This is a fantastic like Crackdown, a fantastic Dead Rising, a fantastic mediocre Assassin's Creed. Like if you put your perspective in that light and all these games that we play year over year that kind of fit in this range, this is a great game. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot to do. Again, I wish it was a little more streamlined. I really do. The progression, I never felt like in my 10 hours, I didn't feel like the game was opening up enough to me. I got to the third camp and I was still relying a lot on melee weapons because they were better. I was relying a lot on stealth because I didn't have the ammo. I didn't have access to the guns. It was one of those things where it's like, if it was Infamous, it would have opened all that up and it would have been a fun, awesome playground to play in. And that's the part of it that feels like Red Dead. And that's the other reason why I got out of Red Dead. It feels like it just kind of breadcrumbs you along. Like here's your little piece, here's your little piece, here's a little piece. It's like, I want to go, I want to get me to open up the inventory, like let me go and let me go do these missions fun, almost like GTA style. It's like an open world, but it's not an open world. It's not a Far Cry. It's, it's slower. It's like a little slower pace.
Right. Well, with Red Dead, that kind of made sense with the setting and the, and there was, you mentioned that where there's a specific mission where you drive to go check on this girl and you just check in on her and then okay, that's the end of the mission.
It's like less than a minute.
Yeah. So in Red Dead, that sort of interaction is just handled while you're walking around the camp and you see a character hanging out over by a tree and you can either go over and talk to them or you can not go over and talk to them. And there's that exposition is built into the world rather than being specific missions. You can either build those relationships or not build those relationships. So it sounds like Days Gone is like almost an old. It sounds like it's an old open world game. It's one that was maybe developed before Breath of the Wild and before Red Dead Redemption 2. Whether I know you didn't like Red Dead 2, but there are things about those games where anywhere you go in the open world, there's story to find or something to find.
Sure. Yeah.
And it might take you longer in Red Dead because you're riding your horse or your horse died and you're out in the middle of nowhere and you have to walk somewhere. But I don't know. And also you mentioned if things were more streamlined. I'm replaying Uncharted 4 right now. Mm-hmm. And I think unless you're a really good open world game, a lot of times the open world can just feel like padding. Yeah. I felt the same way about Horizon Zero Dawn.
It's one of those things, like if you're not into it, if it's not doing it for you, then you're like, why am I doing it?
Right. I liked the Horizon Zero Dawn story, but I didn't like traversing the map and messing around with, there were wide open spaces that you just had to walk through and occasionally fight a big machine thing. And then,
sure.
But I liked the story beats and I liked a lot of the story missions. So if I could play like an Uncharted cut of Horizon Zero Dawn, I would like it.
Maybe you might not like Days Gone.
So
I came here hoping to appeal to your Red Dead tendencies. You might not like Days Gone because it's a lot. It's like Horizon times 2 though. Okay. It's like Horizon, but it doubles down on that. There's a lot of things for you to do that, I don't want to say don't matter because that's negative and harsh. Like the stories, these little side stories are pretty good. Some of the characters are actually really well put together, but like the things that you're doing are a lot of the same things. And it's just a lot of it. It's like, it is a lot of the game. I really wish I could have mainlined the campaign or at least opened up the arsenal faster. Yeah. By the time I was done, like it would have been nice to open up the arsenal. I probably would have played a little longer. And by the time I got done with Days Gone, I'd already beaten Far Cry. Right. And I wasn't a third of the way. I wasn't halfway there. and I had already beaten Far Cry. So it's like the pacing just felt real slow. And I was like, man, I just keep hitting everybody with this bat. I don't want to use this bat anymore. You know, I want to use weapons, and I can't use my assault rifle because I run out of ammo before anybody dies. Like the zombies are still coming at me, you know. So it's just a lot of the same. I don't want to call it repetitive because I hate that term. Repetitive means you're not having fun. That's all. Every game's repetitive.
Right. I want to say it's actually not my game of the year at this point, but Apex Legends, if you want to talk about repetitive, is probably the game I played the most this year.
Yeah, that's very repetitive. But if you're having fun, then it's not repetitive at all.
Right, exactly. All right, enough with Days Gone. PSVR. You rebought PSVR.
I did.
So
you know, I haven't told this story. I've told it in the Discord, but I haven't told this story at all. On any podcast. Yes, I rebought PSVR because Iron Man, which I made fun of at the first PlayStation Plus. I killed this thing for PlayStation Plus. I didn't know what it was, and then when they showed it, I was like, "Oh my god, it's this on rails PlayStation VR experience, right? Just like the Spider-Man experience." Like I tried that and it was bad. Then the I don't know his title. One of the developers, marketing guy, lead director, producer, whatever. One of the guys on the project went on IGN. I want to say is Beyond. Podcast Beyond. And I listened to this guy talk for an hour about how much love and effort they're putting into this game and how it's not the game that I thought it was, how I was completely wrong. And then people went hands-on with it in GDC, and they were like, holy crap, you get to fly anywhere you want. And I was like, that's the game I want. Why wasn't that in the trailer? Why didn't they show that part of the game? That sounds amazing. So I got that obsessive kink. I was like, I don't want PSVR, but if I did, like, how much would it cost? So I started, like, what I do when I start to think about wanting things is I start putting up deal alerts.
Yep.
So I found this eBay listing that had a PSVR system up. It had Astrobot and I don't know, 3 or 4 other games and the Move controllers included. But the listing photo was of Astrobot. Now, if you don't know how to sell things, don't sell a system with your lead photo, the game. Because people think you're selling the game because they don't read and they don't click. So like it was really, really low. So I put in a bid and it went down to auction. And long story short, I got the entire bundle, controllers and everything. It was like brand new, by the way, like very, very great shape. $126.50.
Jeez.
I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. I was like, man, because like one of the reasons I got rid of PSVR was one, like I wasn't playing it enough. 2, I spent like $250 on it. Like I kept looking at it like I put all this investment into this thing I'm not playing.
Right.
It's a whole different thing when you cut that price in half and you're like, well, who cares if I'm not playing? I didn't pay that much for it.
Right. Wow. How much did you pay for Labo VR?
Right. Exactly. So I get it. And I started getting all the things again, really with this one goal in mind, right? This one, I'm going to play Iron Man. That was the whole point. So, but there are other PSVR games that have been coming out.
Yeah.
Noticeably, Everybody's Golf, which long storied thing. Like I really love golf games. And I was like, you know what? It's a budget price. It's $30. I get it for even cheaper because I've got GCU. I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a try. Everybody's Golf is amazing. Visually, visually, it looks incredible. Now it doesn't look 4K and beautiful like it, but it looks visually amazing for a VR game.
Right.
If you've never played a PSVR game, they don't look that great. Like you've got to come to the table with that expectation. Like it's not gonna be what Horizon is on your TV screen. But Everybody's Golf in VR looks like you're standing in like Breath of the Wild. Like, you know, it looks like it's like what Nintendo wants Breath of the Wild Labo to be. It looks incredible. And all the grass is blowing. And I remember the first time I ever looked at my caddy and she leaned in to say something. I was like, oh my God, like this, like she's right here. You know, like you feel like invasive. And the golf part works. It works well.
You swing just like a regular golf club, like Wii Golf, only more.
This is the VR version of Wii Golf.
Okay.
And there might be a limited audience for that, but guess who's in that limited audience?
Oh yeah.
I love Wii. I still play Wii Golf.
Get me VR Wii bowling.
Oh, it's so good. And the tracking is really good. The tracking, to be honest with you, the tracking might be too good. There are times where you can spin that thing just a little left or right and throw your ball 30 yards offline. You're like, damn it. But at the same time, guess what that's like? Golf.
Right.
That's what golf's like. Like, that's why golf is hard. And I mean, I don't want to take you down a long road of what golf centers cost, but if you've ever went and played like virtual golf at like a bar or somewhere, those setups cost like $2,500. And for $200, give or take, you can have something that replicates that experience in your own home. And it's a lot of fun. I really like it. I wish it had online multiplayer. I would play it. I think the way it tracks you is a little weird. I have to reset it a lot. I find that if I don't reset it a bunch, I start to like my shots don't start to line up well. Okay. It's like as you move, because you're physically moving, but you don't know it because you're trapped in the headset. As you physically move, things are getting out of line, getting out of whack from your original setting. So just reset it a lot. Like I've gotten to the habit of resetting every shot before I step up to the ball. I reset it, I aim and everything, and get straight. Guess what? Like golf, like when you really golf, you really do that. And it's just, dude, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I think putting is weird. It's weird to putt virtually. It's a little sensitive for my liking.
Well, putting more than swinging a golf club, you have to have more touch and feel.
True.
And your touch and feel in this is a little wand, a remote controller.
I think it's just overly sensitive on power.
Okay.
Like you can barely move the putter and you hit like a 30% shot, which is just seems odd. Cause like if having played golf in my mind, having played golf as much as I have in my mind, when I'm taking a stroke like that, I'm thinking that's a 10-foot putt. Right. And then Hot Shots Golf, it's a 40-foot putt. You're like, oh my God, it's way too much. It would be nice to customize some of that to your liking. In golf games in the past, like when you're swinging, you can select clubs to adjust your power.
Yep. Some
of the older golf games, you could do that with putting. You like a short putt, a medium putt, a long putt. So you could kind of putt the way you want and still judge.
Right. Yeah. You have a 10-foot putter, a 30-foot putter, and a 50-foot putter.
It would be nice if this game had that, because I think it would allow just a little more customization. But guess what? If you don't like it and you think it's too sensitive, you can turn on tornado cups and just play with the spiral. So if you putt anywhere near it, it just goes in. And that's super fun too.
How many courses are there?
3. Okay. Only 3. And I've only unlocked 2. That's it. There's a lot of unlocking in this game. Like when you start, it's like, it just gives you pieces. Like you start, it's like, here's 3 holes and you unlock 6, and you unlock 9, and you can play 18. Then you unlock the second course, you unlock a second caddy, you unlock new clubs. Like everything is unlocked. And I think that's because the game just basically limits what you can do.
Right.
To keep you playing.
Right. Because if it just gave you the 3 courses,
you just play that. Yeah. The one thing that I think this game has messed up on completely, there's one huge glaring omission that this game should have done. PlayStation should have totally partnered, licensed, I don't know, or copied, probably just copy, make their own. They should have totally copied the Top Golf concept and had an arcade game on the range that you could play, because you're on the range. You can go to the range and just hit balls, but you're just hitting it into oblivion. Like there's targets and stuff out there, but nothing's going on. Have you ever went to Top Golf?
No, I'm not. They just put one in Columbus within the last year. Haven't been there yet.
So Top Golf is popular for millennials because, one, you don't have to play for 5 hours to complete a round. You just go to the range and they highlight different targets with like lights or music or whatever, and everybody on the range plays these little like closest to the pin contest or like these little range games. If they had just included that little arcade mode in this game, I could 100% like recommend this game to everybody. It looks so good. It plays so well. This is the VR experience I was kind of always hoping for. It's 100 times better than any impression I ever had from playing Everybody's Golf, the base game. I was so upset with all the RPG stuff they put in that game, where you have to level up every single individual club, and if you swing off, you almost get penalized. If you have a bad swing, it makes your 7-iron worse. It's like, this is nothing like golf. What are you talking about? Like, this is ridiculous. This is not how clubs work. I hated every part of that. And it gets rid of all that and just gets you back to golfing, and it's fun. I really, really like it. It's super fun.
Good.
It's kind of kinky, by the way. I need to mention that. It's really kind of kinky with the caddies.
Okay.
There's this moment, like I went on a date with a caddy, kind of. Like when you're playing the game, in the middle of the game, like random. I feel like it's random. Maybe it's not. Maybe if I Wikipedia it, maybe it's like, at the same time every time. I don't know. But there are these moments where the caddy's like, would you like to take a walk with me? I'm like, what? And you literally like go up to like a fence post and she talks about how beautiful the day is as she kind of suggestively leans forward or over or something and kind of looks back. You're like, wait a minute, what kind of game is this? I thought this was a golf game. Or like she does one of the ones that she did, she tried to walk across a plank in like this hurricane, like this huge wind. She's like teetering back and forth as you look at her from behind. Yep. She's like, oh no, we should do this. Oh, never mind. This is a bad idea. And she'll turn and walk slowly to you. There's some weird Japanese kinky stuff going on in everybody's golf VR.
Okay. Fair warning. So perfect. Sounds like a Donnie game. Has
I'm not. I don't hate it. It's very weird, and it'd be very weird if your wife walked in at one of these moments in everybody's golf, and you were strapped into a headset, reaching out with your PS4 wands. It'd be weird. It'd be super weird.
Well, I feel like if I were strapped into a headset, no matter what I was playing, it would look pretty weird. So, the other main game, there have been a lot of games really over the last year that have come out for PSVR that have sounded really interesting. But the big one just came out, Blood and Truth.
Oh, yeah.
You've played that a little bit?
So Kyle played it and beat it. And he kept talking about it. He was like, it's really good. And I really love Kyle's opinions and things. When Kyle says something's good, that's kind of like a thing for me. I'm like, I'm going to go play this game. Okay. And it's one of the things I bought with the Days Gone.
Now, Donnie, time out. Kyle loves jazz punk.
Yeah, I didn't play that game. I was like, no. But see, the problem with that is that Kevin liked that game.
Okay.
Like Kevin plus Kyle.
That cancels out.
Kyle by himself is good. Okay. So he got this game, and I had credit left over from the Days Gone thing. That's what I did with Days Gone. I was holding onto this gift card because I have the GCU for another week and a half, and I can trade things in. Or not, I'm sorry, trade is the wrong word. I can return things that I've purchased for whatever reason within 30 days of purchase. So I played Days Gone for a weekend and was like, I would rather get this later at $20, $15. And they just give me a gift card for $60 and like get whatever you want.
I didn't realize GCU did that.
Yeah. So I took it back, and that's what I was doing. I was keeping a gift card, and this is one of the things I spent the gift card on. So Kyle was like, Blood and Truth's great. And I was like, really? Is it like really good? Okay. So I picked it up. It's 40, 30. I didn't even remember because I got it for free. Yeah. But I used my gift card on it. I don't think I had to pay anything else. And I brought it home, and I was playing everybody's golf. And I've been playing a lot of things like Rush of Blood. I never played the first time. What a huge mistake. I was all into Astrobot and Beat Saber and everything. I should have 100%. The first time I ever had PSVR, I should have played Rush of Blood. I would have never got rid of it, by the way. That's an awesome shooter. It's an on-rail shooter. It's all horror, monsters, killers, slasher. It's fantastic. But back on point, Kyle talks about this game, so I get it and I plug it in. And here's the thing about this. I went into this completely like I didn't know what this game was. I have not followed it. I kind of knew it was a shooter. I thought it used the Farpoint shooter gun thing that they have.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I didn't even know that. Like, this is how little I knew about this game. But Kyle said it was good, and it was a short game, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try, and I'll play it. This game is amazing. This game is awesome. It's incredible. It's a must-play game for PSVR owners. And if you're thinking about getting PSVR, and it's because of this game, like if you're thinking about getting PSVR because you've seen this game and you're interested, then you should get PSVR. It's GoldenEye 007 in VR, and it's freaking incredible. You move from point to point. So basically you just look with your head at an object, and if you can move to there, it'll highlight, and you click a button, and that's how you move.
Okay.
So I played Firewall, and Firewall was terrible. You had to like click a button to turn left, click a button to turn right. That makes no sense because you're already moving your head. Click a button to like move the stick to go forward, but then you had to constantly click a button to change where you were going forward in what direction. It was terrible. It was awful. I hated that experience. Mm-hmm. This gets rid of all of that. It puts you into cover when you need to be in cover. Like, it gets rid of all of the VR weirdness and just gets you into playing the awesome spy action movie game. Right. And that's what it is, man. You grab ammo from your chest and you load it into your gun. Every gun has a two-handed option. So you can put your wands together and the hands will go together around the gun. And it feels like in the illusion is real. I literally feel like I'm holding a 9mm with a silencer on the end of it. And I'm James Bond and I'm combing through these hallways just taking down dudes. And I've got SMGs and I've got a shotgun and I've thrown grenades, and you're going through hallways, you're going through casinos, you're going through warehouses, and you're telling this whole backstory of this whole inter-family like mafia, war, and you going up against another faction. This guy's trying to take you out, and you're taking out his whole army. And I haven't beaten it yet. Kyle's beaten the whole thing. I've only played, I don't know, first few chapters, and it is fantastic. It is so much fun.
So did Kyle say how long it was?
It's pretty short. I don't know. I mean, I think he beat it in a weekend. It's pretty short. It's not super long. Okay. But I really, I want to play it when we get done. I've played it every night. It's one of those things. VR is still weird to me because I'm definitely enjoying it the second time around, just as an investment and everything. But there's still like this apprehension of, I almost feel like I need to plan to play VR. It's not like a game where I pick up a controller and I play. I gotta, well, for one, this is going to sound really, really stupid. But to give the Donnie people out there something to make fun of me about, I got rid of the carpet in my basement. I completely reorganized my basement, by the way, for VR. I reorganized my entire basement so I had more room for my TV to make room for this thing. But it's solid concrete floor. So like when I play VR, I gotta get the headset, get the wands, put the game in, turn everything on, put on tennis shoes, which I'm never in, by the way, because my feet will hurt if I'm standing on concrete floor because I'm old. So I got to put on my tennis shoes. Like I do all of this just to play VR. So I still feel like there's like this whole thing to get playing. Right. But Blood and Truth is something that I'm addicted to. It is that kind of game, which is something I've been searching for a while. That's something I've mentioned on Shaq. I feel like Rage 2, while it was a fine game, Rage 2 did not hit the mark that I was hoping that it would hit. And there's just nothing really to be excited about with Rage 2. It's kind of how I felt with Yoshi. Yoshi was a fine game. There's just nothing that really excited me about playing it. And I haven't felt really excited about playing much of anything lately. And Blood and Truth has kind of fulfilled that. Like I tried Days Gone and I tried all these things. Blood and Truth is the first game where I'm like, this is freaking awesome. And I can't wait to tell somebody about it because I'm having a blast.
Great.
Because it is really, really good.
Great. Good to hear. I know. It's been talked about for a long time. Did you play? It was part of a demo disc, the London Heist.
Nope, never played.
So that was the Blood and Truth, but just like a demo version. It wasn't the same story or whatever, but the same developer developed London Heist, and it's on, I think the early PS VR demo disc or demos or something. I don't know. It might even be free. Might be something to check out when you're done, just to see how far it's come in the last year and a half. It's
got these like this Law and Order interrogation scene between missions that kind of sets you up for what you're doing. Okay. And one of the things I love about it, they always put something on the table or around that you can like pick up and hold. Like it gives you pictures, and I constantly throw them at him, like wanting him to slap them out of the way or say something to me. Like I just keep trying to hit him. I hit him with the clipboard and threw it at him. That's a lot of fun. Before we leave this topic, the game has a lot of replay value in the sense that you can unlock new guns, new paint colors, new skins by shooting like these collectible items in the game, but they're hidden really well. So they might be like in the corner or in a closet, but you may not be able to like take your time to hit them. They might only be able to you may only be able to shoot them as you're moving between point A and point B, and you can't go back to A and try it again. Right. So it kind of keeps you on your toes that way, which I really, really like. It's weird. So after playing Blood and Truth, I was realizing this weekend, I had my phone and I was like flicking my finger through my phone, and my head was still in that space where I kind of felt like my phone and thumb weren't real. Does that make any sense? Or like I had to I was like, wait a minute. Because it felt like I was looking at VR again because I'd been playing for like 2 hours straight. It's like, I don't know, it really messes with you. It's awesome. It's good stuff.
All right. I have not been playing any new games. MLB The Show, I'm in the World Series with the Indians. I'm having a much better season with them than the real life Cleveland Indians.
Yeah. Oof, boy.
But
I bought tickets to see them too, by the way.
Okay. Are they playing the Braves?
No. When I go to Ohio.
When you come to Ohio,
we're
great.
going to an Indians game, and
cool.
I feel bad. I'm like, I shouldn't have bought those.
No, who are they playing?
The Tigers.
Okay.
But I feel like I could have just walked up to the stadium and bought tickets for like $2.
I'm sure. It'll still be fun. It'll be fun. So I'm playing that. It's a lot of fun. If you're into a baseball game, I'm completely casual on it, and I'm having. I mean, through the season, the March to October mode, where it sims a few games and then drops you in like the 8th inning of a game.
Yeah, I like these little scenario-based things. It's kind of cool.
And then in the playoffs, it drops you in either in the 5th or 6th inning every game so far. And you're it's always like a 1-0. It's a tied game, 1 run, 2 run. I think one time I was down by 3 runs. And then other times I've been up by 2 or 3 runs. And then you play out the remainder of the game. So you're playing, it's easier to do than playing a full 9-inning game. Also, when you're in there, and I played against Houston one series, and you're going against Justin Verlander, who's a great pitcher. But by the time I'm playing the game, it's already the fifth or 6th inning, and he's 70 pitches into his outing. So it's not like, if you're playing Justin Verlander in the first couple innings, you're probably not going to get a hit.
Right.
And so by the time you're in there, the pitchers are tired enough that plus I'm only playing on the 2nd difficulty. So, it's not that, playing a baseball game and you never get any hits. I frequently have big innings. So my team, the Indians, won 122 games. My Indians did. So obviously I'm playing on easy mode, but that's all right. It's fun. Apex Legends, I'm still playing, waiting for whatever the announcement about season 2 is, and waiting for it has gotten a bit stale. But I'm still, when I'm playing with people I know, then it's fun.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Will you be watching the EA thing, or are you just going to kind of wait for Twitter to tell you?
Wait for Twitter. We'll be. I won't actually be able to watch any E3, just between doing some travel stuff and and whatnot. So, sorry about that. Getting a drink refill.
Nice.
So I won't be watching really any E3. I'll just be kind of keeping tabs on things. But that's the Apex Legends season 2 stuff, and whoever the next legend is, and whatever. I assume there's going to be a new weapon and some changes to the map. I'm excited. That's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to from E3 outside of Star Wars. Star Wars is the other big game. I'm trying to think I feel like there was something else, but
Call of Duty?
No, not Call of Duty. Square Enix, actually, the Square show. I'm looking forward to.
Good.
The Marvel Avengers game.
Sure.
I'm on a high with Marvel and Avengers stuff. Also, I am actually on the Square podcast with Kevin, so I will be recapping that show when we get to that point. And so I'm looking forward to learning more about Apex. I've also been playing Uncharted 4 recently. I've talked over the past couple of months about wanting to revisit that, and I think when I burned out on Sekiro and decided to get rid of Sekiro, I decided to finally jump into Uncharted 4, and it's still really good. I enjoy it.
I love that you're replaying a game.
Yeah.
I often feel like sometimes I'm the only person in PSVG has ever replayed games. I've beaten Uncharted 4 twice. I've beaten The Last of Us, I think, 4 times. I've done Infamous twice. There's something to be said, especially when you're like in a lull.
Yep.
Like when nothing's really doing it, man, just go play a game that you really love. I think the next one I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to replay The Order. I kind of dug The Order. Outside of that one really hard mission that I can just skip over now because I beat it the first time, I kind of dug The Order. It was kind of fun. Which
one's the really hard mission?
There's this mission towards the end of the game, Chapter 8 or Chapter 9, where you're just like in a basement. or in a cellar where enemies just come at you from like every direction, and it's got like launchers and grenades. Like I just remember that was the one mission where I was like, I may have to drop down to easy to beat this mission. Like I can't. I probably played it. I don't know what this makes me sound like a terrible gamer. I think I played that mission 8 or 9 times before I got through. Like I was really struggling. I was like, man, this is really bothering me.
Yeah, and that gets to be to about my limit. That's where I got with Sekiro. You know, there was this one boss. I think I did it 15 times, and it was the kind of thing where you have to sneak around and take care of all of the extra enemies before you fight the boss. And so I got to the point where I could do all of the extra enemies with my eyes closed. But then you get to the boss, and I'm done in a minute.
And then you got to do it all over again.
You have to do it all over again.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
I was like, all right, well, I'll just. Sekiro is a great game, but it's just
The Order and Horizon are 2 games that I've at least in the PlayStation wheelhouse that I've thought I'm like, I might replay this game. Oh, and PT. That's when I haven't played PT again. Like played it since I beat it the first time. And I went on and on and on about how much I loved PT, and I did. It was a novel experience, but I've never replayed it. I don't know what it'd feel like the second time through, but that's another one that I'm kind of jonesing to maybe give another try.
Yeah. So Uncharted 4, I've only played it the one time. And then
have you done any of the weird things that you unlock after you beat the game?
No.
Can I encourage you to do so?
Okay.
They have like big head modes. You play the entire game in a tuxedo. They're like stupid things, man. They're hilarious. You do these modes where you shoot people and they float, and they just float in midair. And it's so good.
I'm good with my experience. So I haven't played it since my first time through. I did play Uncharted Lost Legacy, but I've whenever we do these end of year or we'll occasionally do the list of these are my favorite games of this generation or whatever. I have Uncharted 4 at the top of that list, but I sort of feel like I needed to go back and play it to kind of reevaluate.
Sure. And
I enjoy it. It is hard with such a story-based game where it's, now that I know the story beats, you're not surprised, but I'm picking up on some different things. And right now I'm just to the point where Sam just came and visited Nathan at his office, and now Sam is telling the story of how he broke out of prison. Sure. So I'm still early. I mean, it's like chapter 4. I've gotten through the intro where it's Nathan as a kid breaking out of the spoilers for the 3-year-old.
Man, you made me want to play the game. I love this game so much. It's so good.
Where Nathan as a kid breaks out of the orphanage, and then you've got the initial.
Go get your mother's stuff.
We haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what they talk about, going to do that. So I liked what I really liked about the original game, outside of obviously I like Nathan Drake a lot. I like Elena. I grew to like the Sam character. I like Sully a lot. The characters are the reason why you like Uncharted. But in this game, the whole story with Henry Avery and the pirates, and I really got into that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to continuing on through that. This is, of course, when I played it originally, it was on the base PS4. Now I have PS4 Pro, and it's the only visual upgrade is an HDR, which I'm not discerning enough to be able to tell if there's actually a difference. I don't know.
Oh, I got you. It's just like the blacks are darker, the neons are brighter. It's it's more contrast, really.
So I'm like, it looks great. It looked great before. I have noticed actually a little bit of stuttering occasionally that I don't remember on the original game. It doesn't happen often, but occasionally there's some stuttering.
You're about to come up with my favorite chapter. My favorite chapter in Uncharted 4 is definitely that like Irish Scottish cathedral chapter.
Okay.
And you're moving through all like those fields of like those purple flowers and like coming down the things and blowing up all those old ruins and stuff like that. Oh, I love that chapter. I play the chapter over and over again.
Huh.
I'm telling you, man, you got to get into those options. They have all these different art styles. Even if you don't play the whole game that way, I'm not telling you to do that. When you get to a mission that you don't particularly care about, play around with that stuff. There's a cell shaded art style. There's like a black and white. There's a comic book. Like it gets really weird, man. It gets really weird, and it's fun. It's really fun to mix it up a little in your second way through.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even know those were options. So
Play the pirate ship completely in a tuxedo, and watch the cutscenes with Nathan Drake in a tuxedo the entire time.
So, with Uncharted or not Uncharted, Spider-Man. On Spider-Man you unlock all the different suits.
Yep.
And you have some really strange suits. Like you have the negative suit or the one where it's the comic book.
Yes, I remember both those.
And I really like the comic book suit, except I had it on when it got to some emotional scene with Mary Jane. And I was like, I just
and you
can't.
look ridiculous.
Yeah, you look pretty,
I like that. Speaking of Spider-Man, on sale, by the way. I'm not sure what the days of play price is. I'm pretty sure it's the same. It's $20 at Target.
Yeah, that's the days of play.
If you haven't played Spider-Man, you have no reason not to pick it up for $20.
Oh yeah,
Game is worth every bit of $20.
I never did. I ended up selling it before I ever played the DLC. So that'll be a game where maybe it'll come to PS Plus at some point, or if PlayStation Now ever decides to actually compete with Game Pass, that could be something. So I'd be down for diving in. And then the other game I've been replaying, actually on my Switch, but of course it's on PlayStation 4 also, is Shovel Knight. Sort of in preparation for King of Cards. It's coming out at some point. Is it going to drop at E3?
Did you like my prediction? That was my prediction on Check. It's out right now.
I would love that. So I've been playing Shovel Knight. I just beat Mole Knight. So I've beaten like 5 of the levels, and I forget how many there are, but this is my 5th or 6th time playing it. Speaking of games to replay, Shovel Knight is, I've said it probably too many times, one of my top 3 or 4 games of the generation, and whatever generation it belongs in, I don't even know it, because it debuted like in 2012, I think.
It's been a while.
But I'm not sure. Once I beat the core game, I don't know if I'll go back and play the Plague Knight. Did you ever play either of the other two?
No. I definitely did. I played
Spectre Knight. Spectre Knight was the one that released day one with the Switch.
Okay, so I played them both. I'm not sure which one was which because I didn't beat either one of them.
Plague Knight, Plague Knight was basically just a reskinned version of Shovel Knight, except you were Plague Knight.
Right.
And then
I want to say
Spectre of Torment was almost more, you went to, I forget exactly, but you chose levels almost more like you would in Mega Man, where you just get a menu of different.
Yeah, okay. So the one that launched the Switch, I played a lot of. I played like all that day and basically that week, that month. The other one I played a little bit of and I didn't like because it wasn't Shovel Knight and it didn't move the same, so I stopped playing it. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I don't. So I don't know. I might revisit Plague Knight just to see, because I didn't like it the first time. But Spectre Knight, I know. And if King of Cards actually drops at E3, then I will just play that instead. So either way, Shovel Knight is great. I mean, it's a great game. So that's what I'm playing. We always cover new releases on the PSXP, and this week, unsurprisingly, there aren't a ton of big releases anywhere. There's this game called Effie that I talked about when it was announced a few weeks ago, where I think it looks like Old Man Zelda. Or Old Man Link, excuse me. I think because he has this green cape thing, but he has this shield that is his weapon, and it's like a 3D. I think it's a little more platformer than like a Zelda game would be.
Pulling it up as you're talking about it because I honestly don't know anything about this game.
But I thought it has a neat art style.
It does, yeah, it does.
And it's just kind of a 3D platformer action adventure kind of game that is probably like a I'm blanking on the game that is a complete ripoff of Wind Waker. Oceanhorn. So like might be of that. Which Oceanhorn is a good game. So good game, not great game. So that's I haven't looked at reviews of FE or anything like that, but
it's giving me like knack vibes.
Yep.
Obviously without the construction part, but yeah.
The other game coming out this week that caught my eye was MotoGP 19. I haven't actually played a MotoGP game, but I like racing games. Although I haven't played a racing game in a while. Kind of like you with PSVR, I have my racing wheel now, but in order to play it, even though it takes 5 minutes to set up, but I've got to go in my basement, get the thing, bring it up, plug it in, and be in a mindset to play it. Or I can sit down on my couch, grab my controller, and play MLB The Show. And then the other game that I think looks kind of fun, I've never played Ark, but PixArk, which I think is on Switch also. But it looks like Minecraft, except it's the Ark series with the dinosaurs and so on. So I think that game is $40, which is a little bit high. But that's about it. Oh, Warhammer Chaos Bane. I know people like Warhammer games. So with that, on to news of the week. The PlayStation Plus games were announced last week and are now available. You can go download Sonic Mania and the Borderlands Handsome Jack collection. This is probably the best PlayStation Plus lineup in months. Whether I'll actually play either of the games on PlayStation, I don't know. Just because I'm obviously playing other things. Sonic Mania is probably the best Sonic game since
Sonic Mania might be the best Sonic game.
Might be the best Sonic game. Yeah,
just put it that way. It just might be the best Sonic game. Is the Sonic game made for Sonic fans?
Yes. So it's a great game.
It is.
But I already have it on Switch. I played it on Switch. Never beat it. But I might. I have it downloaded. So, and then the Borderlands 2 or the Handsome Jack collection.
Yes.
I've only ever played Borderlands 1, and with 3 coming out,
good timing.
I feel like jumping into it, and I might see. I have my one friend who I play Apex with. We both have PlayStation Plus. I might see if he wants to play through Borderlands with me. Have you played that yet?
The collection? No.
Yeah.
I've played Borderlands. I've definitely played Borderlands. Played through it a little bit. It's fun. The multiplayer online shooter stuff has never been my thing.
Yeah.
People play these games and friends, but the story is good enough.
Right.
I'm open to it, I guess. If everybody was playing Borderlands 3 and I could get a deal on it, I would probably jump in with folks, but it's not really my jam.
Right. Have you did you play the Borderlands Telltale game?
Yes. And I got through the first chapter and I think I was in the second chapter and I gave up on it. I was not as enamored with it as other people were, but I think it's because I didn't have the affinity or the knowledge of all the characters that everybody else did.
I didn't either because I played part of the first Borderlands game and then nothing else. But the Borderlands Telltale game might be my favorite Telltale game.
Wow.
But I haven't played. That's based on Walking Dead Season 1, Borderlands, Batman, and Wolf Among Us.
Okay.
Those might be the only ones I played. Oh yeah, Batman. Yeah. So anyway, since it's free, I've looked at it because it's been down to $15.
It's
every other week. It's down to $15.
Perfect timing, right?
Oh yeah.
Like you've got the new game coming. There's all these rumors that they're going to have like some special DLC episode that like prepares you for the new one. Like it's perfect timing. Put it on Plus. Keep people playing the game again. Get them used to the controls, and get them ready to buy the new game. Like I love that part of it. I'm all for it. I personally just not really in the Borderlands demographic. So.
Yep. And then the other big piece of news, I guess that was PlayStation focused, but the big PlayStation focused piece of news between last week's episode and this week, the Death Stranding trailer was dropped and the release date of November 8th for this year, which I think was actually a pretty big surprise that it's actually coming out this year, that it's the first of the big 3 remaining games on PlayStation 4. It's the first one that's actually coming out. Was a pretty big surprise. So, Death Stranding, are you in or out on Death Stranding?
Probably. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably out. Like if you're asking me today, it's pre E3, it's pre all this news buzz and everything we know about. Probably out. That's honestly said, as I've never been the Kojima guy. I just never have been, and it's not because the games are bad. I've never really gotten into them. I've played Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 and 4. I didn't play 5, or I play Revengeance. They've never been my favorite games, but I've enjoyed them. But it really feels like the further that series has gone along, the less I've been interested. Mm-hmm. Honestly, maybe in that order. Like I loved Revengeance. I liked 1 and 2. I played 4 and I didn't play 5. Right. So like in that order, that's how I liked them. So as the further I've gone along, I've liked it less. And I was really, really excited for, Silent Hills. That's what I wanted Kojima to do. I want Kojima to make super creepy, gory horror game, and he's not. And this is a weird game, but it's got Mads Mikkelsen and all these other folks. This trailer blew me for a loop. It looks fun. I'm not going to lie to you. Like at first, when I first watched it, I caught half the trailer because I got to the stream late. And I was like, what is this game? And everybody's like, what are you talking about? And then I watched the trailer all the way through and I was like, oh, okay. So is this like this open world action adventure where you've got, this shooting me, like all that looks good. All of that looks good. It's just the story and the tone and the sentiment hasn't captured me. And I don't know if it will. I'm pretty sure I'll play it because I play most highlight releases, right? Like that's what we do here. Right. We have a podcast and a blog. I will play it like I played Days Gone. I will probably pick it up, especially when everybody starts talking about it, just to see what everybody's talking about. But I'm not looking forward to it. It's not on my pre-order list. I might wait till Black Friday if I don't wait until, the next year. Right. Just because it's super weird.
Yeah. It is a strange trailer. It's like an 8-minute long trailer. And I almost like there's this thing on the PlayStation blog that Hideo Kojima wrote to kind of introduce it, where it says, people have created walls and become accustomed to living in isolation. Death Stranding is a completely new type of action game where the goal of the player is to reconnect isolated cities into fragmented society. It's created so that all elements, including the story and gameplay, are bound together by the theme of the strand or connection. As Sam Porter bridges, you will attempt to bridge the divides in society, and in doing so, create new bonds or strands with other players around the globe. Through your experience playing the game, I hope you'll come to understand the true importance of forging connections with others. That makes me more interested than what was presented in the trailer. Like it sounds like a really interesting setup, and how there's a connection between. I think there's something where when you die as the character, you go into like a half. I'm blanking on what the term would be, but like a somewhere in between life and death, whatever that's called.
Purgatory?
Limbo, purgatory. Yeah. Where you go into like a purgatory and then somehow you get it. I assume you do something in purgatory to get back to the world state. So it sounds like a really interesting setup. But the whole thing with the baby connection thing and the Guillermo del Toro with the stitches on his head and the weird names like Die Hard Man. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. And then there's one part of the trailer where the main character, the guy from Walking Dead, whatever his name is running through this field and these enemies.
Norman Reedus.
Whatever. I don't watch Walking Dead.
Whatever.
I don't watch.
He's amazing. Everybody loves him.
Where he's running through this field and these people are attacking him. I just thought the animation looked kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know. It just looked strange. And I'm really not sure.
I mean, this is the Decim engine. And if there's one thing to say about this game looks incredible. I'll give it that. This game looks fantastic. Yeah. Like the visuals is like, wow, that's a good game. And I think that's why, a lot of people are caught off guard that it's coming out this year. I don't think many people expected it. Maybe more for The Last of Us, but he borrowed, Horizon's engine. Like, he started ahead. Like, he's got a head start. Like, that's fantastic. It's good stuff.
Right. Yeah, really. I mean, I forget when did Metal Gear Solid 5 come out? Was it 2015?
Yeesh.
I feel like it might have, yeah, September 2015. So really in 4 years, he has, I mean, I know before it was released, he was kind of on the outs with Kotaku. With Kotaku,
Yes. Him and Kotaku were having a huge separation.
With Konami.
Correct.
They were on the outs anyway. And I think so in 2015, that was either at Game Awards or PSX where they brought Kojima out and announced him as he's coming to PlayStation.
Yep.
So in 4 years, he has left a studio that released a huge game, founded a new studio, learned a whole new engine, developed a game with obviously major motion capture, Uncharted, Naughty Dog level of motion capture, and maybe even, I mean, who knows how long this game is, but Naughty Dog level of motion capture and, not unprecedented graphical fidelity, but top of the line visuals. AAA production in 4 years for someone who supposedly takes forever to finish games.
Still don't have Final Fantasy VII Episode 1.
Yeah.
That he takes forever to finish games isn't fair. Like, there was a lot of that stuff on Twitter trending. Dude has put out a lot of games since 2000. If you go look it up, there's a good handful, more than most. So like that's unfounded.
So I'm not Death Stranding at face value is not a game for me. I'm not a Hideo Kojima. I played.
That's kind of where I am. Like, the weirdness. There's a pseudo fan in me that's like, I'm interested in knowing, but it kind of ends there. Like, I'm just interested in knowing. I can watch a YouTube video and know. I think that's where this game will land for me, because, I mean, obviously I'm the co-host of our Nintendo show. Nintendo's fall is packed. If you're asking me to buy a third party or a secondary console game right now, for me, it's a tough sell because my calendar appears to be booked. But if this game gets the accolades that you would expect from PlayStation this generation, then I will definitely make time. I will find a way. If somebody's like, this game is incredible and you've got to play it, you know me. I'll find a way. I'll do it. I'll definitely do it. But I'm very interested. I'd be very interested in knowing, is this a 50-hour game? Is it a 40-hour, 20-hour game? Is it a 10-hour game? Is it 8? Like, do you beat this game in 5 hours? Does it have a lot of replayability? I really still don't know. As much as I think I know, I have no. If you're like, Donnie, tell me exactly what this game is. I don't have a clue.
No clue. You could. There could be a lot. It could be a lot of different games. It could be, some of it is your Norman Reedus and your action adventure, and some of it could be. I wouldn't be surprised if you control Mads Mikkelsen's character at some point and do some. It could play with different points of view. And, it could be a lot of different genres. One other thing before we go off of this, the trailer, and maybe it's more now, but the trailer had been viewed 6.6 million times as of, I think, Monday, which was higher than the past 2 Xbox E3 presentations. Now I don't know how they track that. The Xbox E3 presentations could be watched on IGN and a whole bunch of different areas. But this just kind of plays into it. Sony is coming out with a lot of news right now surrounding E3, where maybe it could have all been saved for an E3 specific presentation.
That I would have agreed with.
But they're still releasing the same kind of information, and it's obviously getting traction. Sure.
Absolutely. That's never been the... So I feel like I fundamentally disagree with the PlayStation loyalists of PSVG and quite frankly of the internet. I 100% get the defense of PlayStation. Why spend money? Why go to an event? You don't have to. I get that and agree. You're right. In today's digital world, nobody has to. Why do you have to? You don't have to. but it is the spectacle and it's the reverberation, it's the echo effect of putting it all in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And the place might be the wrong time. Putting it all in the same time frame, doing it together in an organized manner gets everybody watching. Right? When PlayStation says we have a thing to announce, it gets PlayStation fans and owners looking at it. It doesn't get non-PlayStation fans and owners looking at it.
Right.
But when you get PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo and Ubisoft and EA, when you get them all saying, come watch us, then there is the overlap. And when you start to reverberate that message and you get the news people, the IGNs and the GameStop start reporting on all of it, then it's a constant, exponential effect. Every reverberation, every regurgitation of the news just compounds upon itself. That's when you get the NBCs and the CBSs and the CNNs of the world start doing like, hey, these video game kids are making a lot of noise right now because everybody's excited at once versus my whole thing is the hard opinion, like, why share the stage? There is a value to sharing the stage.
Right.
There is, because it's not like a PlayStation fan is not going to find out that Death Stranding was shown. They're going to find out. But the thing is, non-PlayStation fans might find out. But as I mentioned on the PSVG this past week, just honestly, just the community, like partaking in the community, like acknowledging that, yes, you have competitors, but at the same time, you can still get together and have an event for your fans. Because look, yeah, everybody has a brand that they're loyal to. Everybody has something that they love. But at the end of the day, we all love video games. And I just loved the community aspect. Was like E3 was always like a mecca destination for me. Like it was something I always wanted to do. Like in the back of my mind, I'd love to go to E3 where I could just play all the new games and see all the companies. For a company to just back out, like it hurts a little bit. You're like, man, like it wasn't just PlayStation owning the day. It was video gaming owning the day. And you can't do that without PlayStation. And you can't do that without Nintendo. You can't do it without Xbox. I would love, even if PlayStation never said a thing, I would still be interested if there was PSVR units on show floor playing Iron Man. I want to hear people play that game. Like I want to hear what they think about it. Like that has a value to me. And it's that part of it is a very little expense to PlayStation. I don't hear, well, it's a cost. That's ridiculous. These companies make billions of dollars. Put some demo units on the damn floor, put some games on it and let people play it. Like put Death Stranding on there and let people tell you what they think about Death Stranding. What's the harm in that? Like, I'm not going to let go of this. I'm firmly entrenched that I liked the one event a year where everybody at least showed up to the same place. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with everybody having their own events, and I'm fine with it being digital. It doesn't have to be a stage. I am, for one, I really love Sony's press conferences. I don't think Sony would be in the position that they're in now, honestly, without the press conference that they had to kick off this generation. Yep. I firmly believe that that's for real. In the same breath, I acknowledge that last year's press conference was weird.
Oh yeah,
I don't even call it good or bad. It was just weird. It was really weird and paced weird, and like the change of it was odd. You're like, wait a minute, why are we doing this? This is weird. So those things aside, do it digitally. I love what Nintendo's done. Obviously, I believe in the direct manner, but still partake in the event. Right? Say you're going to do it during the time frame. Have some presence on the show floor. Like celebrate video games. They don't mind doing it like when it's in their best interest. And I'm not specifically calling out PlayStation. I'm saying everybody. Right? When there's something there's some crossplay, they didn't mind talking about how they were going to use Azure servers last week. They did a whole news cycle about that. Right? They did a press release and everything. Like they don't mind when it's in their own best interest. Well, then do it at the conference. Like where everybody, like that's the time to do it. Make this the event to do it at. I still believe in that, and I'm not going to let that go. But your point is valid and well noted. Do they need to do it? No, but that's not why they should do it. They shouldn't do it because they need to do it. They should do it because I think it's in the betterment of the industry to do it.
Mm-hmm. All right. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year. As they have, where everyone's assuming that at this E3, Xbox is going to say the Xbox Infinity is coming out or whatever it is. Is that expected to come out this year, or is that expected to be? No, okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I don't think so. There's I think the only interest or the only speculation that's coming from is from fans. There's nothing pointing towards that at a global level that's actually going to be a thing.
Now I could still see, especially if they're announcing it now, it coming out before. I mean, I don't expect the PS5 to be any earlier than fall 2020.
Yeah. And I think Xbox will do the same.
Okay. So I think, next year, as if PlayStation at PSX in December, if they decide to do that again this year, announces PS5, or if they do something in February next year, whatever, very easily see them back at E3.
How much fun would it have been if they just did a 15-minute video that they promoted and marketed at E3 with Medieval and Death Stranding and maybe a Last of Us update and an announcement for PSX in November, and they had, I don't know, 100 kiosks at E3. Like, would that have really been a huge thing to ask for?
As a PlayStation fan who lives in Ohio and who doesn't go to E3, it doesn't matter to me. Honestly, it does not.
But wouldn't you have at least been interested to hear from people putting their hands on a couple of games that you might be interested in this fall?
Yeah, I'll get that eventually.
Sure, maybe.
Either I'll get that ahead of time,
or get it in preview coverage.
Yeah, we'll get it in preview coverage. That's fine. All right.
I mean, I don't want to stop you from getting out of the show, but Shuhei retweeted and talked about like the VR conference. There's a VR conference. It's not just PSVR. It's all the VR. There will be PSVR games shown. So you take the PSVR things, you take Medieval, you take Death Stranding, you take one little teaser that they've got for after this year, and you do an announcement for an upcoming announcement. You put it in a 15-minute video and you just put it out during E3.
But it's all we already know. A lot. It
would have been exciting. Still would have been exciting. And if you had taken the last PS Play and put in there, it would have been super exciting. It would have been more exciting than any of those announcements on their own would have been.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I mean, what if they do a state of play for the Wednesday of E3?
So the rumor is that there is a state of play. If you didn't see it, the Walmart Canada guy that puts out all these news, he said there's a state of play coming out in June where The Last of Us 2 will be updated and dated. And there's like all this stuff coming out. It's like, just do it then. Like, do it now. Why wait a week?
All right. E3. It's hard to believe that's this weekend.
It is. It's now. It's Stadia on Thursday.
The other thing is, if they had an E3 presentation, everything would be leaked now anyway. We already know all of the games that are coming to Ubisoft and to Square Enix. Destiny 2, something leaked about that. Destiny 2 expansion going back. That's called Shadowkeep, set on the moon. I think that was just a leak that wasn't supposed to come out. I know that you tried Destiny 2 and it didn't stick with you. Destiny,
not because the game's bad, just
right. Oh yeah.
Style of game.
There are a lot of reasons why games don't stick. So, Destiny is between 1 and 2. At one point, was my most played franchise. It might still be my most played franchise of the generation. I don't know. But I really have grown tired of Destiny, of just the loop
status quo.
So, yeah, so I don't even know, and I haven't touched it. And I haven't touched it since Apex came out.
Is that the free to play stuff? Is that the Apex and all that stuff getting in there?
That could be.
I'm not worried because I don't play either of those games, but you have to think that these free to play options are having an effect on these premium
for sure.
options. It's like
I played Destiny with my one friend, and that would be the game that we played every week. Well, after a while, I mean, we don't have enough. We're not top level enough to go and play the raids, and we also don't have 6 hours a night to go and play the raids. So we kind of, if you don't play the Destiny raids, you kind of reach a point where you can't really advance.
Yeah,
and then you're just playing kind of the same stuff over and over to play it. Of course, Apex Legends is the same exact thing. You're playing the same character. I play the same 2 or 3 characters every time I play. It's the same exact map. It's the same basic gameplay every time. But for whatever reason, that's stuck with us. Of course, that's only been 3 months versus, Destiny as a franchise has been 5.5 years now. 4.5 years. I don't know. So I'm really not, I don't care about the next Destiny thing at this point. And then the other piece of news that dropped, Watch Dogs Legion.
Yes.
Is coming. And
Watch
Watch
Dogs.
Dogs.
A trailer, by the way. I've been arguing
they
with.
did put out a trailer?
They put out a little teaser.
Okay.
Devin is very upset because this leaked early. It's a game he's been wanting about. And he's whining about it right now in our Discord about how he's not as excited because it leaked. And it's like, it hasn't. I don't know how you feel.
So I'm not a Watch Dogs person. I played the first game a little bit and never beat it. Never played the second game.
I played the first game on Wii U and it was hot garbage. And I played the second game and it was acceptable. It was okay. It was good. But I didn't I'm not into it. And really, this is the point I was trying to make was outside of this. There's so many people right now that are upset that leaks are happening ahead of E3. Yeah. Oh, I don't like this is being leaked. And it's like, I have a serious issue with people staying as connected as they are to video gaming and also being upset about being spoiled. Then don't have Twitter. Don't follow all these people that talk about video games. That's on you. That's not on us. Obviously, that's the way news works in the world, right? Like the news media, like somebody gets a scoop, they're going to tell you.
Right. So
that's in their best interest. That's how this works.
on that kind of topic. So Jeopardy. I don't know if you follow Jeopardy at all.
I do not.
So years ago, they had a guy named Ken Jennings. Do you know Ken Jennings? That name?
I think that's the guy that beat the computer.
That's the guy who beat the computer. He's the guy. He won like 70 times, 70 plus times, and he won $2.5 million throughout. So over the past couple of months, there's been another guy who's come on, and in 33 shows, he is almost where Ken Jennings was in 70 shows.
The throne.
So he's challenging the throne. So
Gotcha.
Of course, Jeopardy is filmed weeks in advance. So like right now, the shows that are on are Alex Trebek is still there and he's healthy or whatever. But in real life, Alex Trebek is fighting cancer.
Yeah.
And he's not filming shows currently.
Sure.
I think he's doing well, but so anyway, so these are shows that are weeks old. So Monday, that guy lost. The episode.
And it's leaked out. Everybody
he just fell short. So, there was some news organization that talked to a local CBS affiliate in Alabama who said that there was a clip that leaked online that showed Final Jeopardy where he lost by $20,000.
So that's my point.
So that came out, and that, like, if you've been following this guy for months,
it sucks, right? You've been ruined. You're like, why am I going to watch it anymore?
But that's different from E3 is like it's all advertisements. It's not the same thing trailer as getting Endgame spoiled for you.
Here's the thing.
If I found out ahead of time that X character dies at the end of Endgame, even though I was kind of expecting it,
sure,
that would have been a bummer.
Yeah, maybe.
But if I find out 3 days before E3 that Watch Dogs has another game coming out, and I love Watch Dogs, that wouldn't bug me.
So I've got a couple points to make. If I can speak directly to Dev, and I've already said this in Discord, but there's a couple points I want to make. Knowing that a game is getting a trailer is not the same thing as spoiling it. You haven't seen it. You don't know what it is. You don't know what it looks like.
The teaser, it's like a logo.
Yeah, there's plenty to know. We knew we were going to see like Death Stranding before we did. It was still surprising to see it.
Yep.
But at the same time, I do understand the yearning and the want to be as surprised as we used to be. And there's the issue though. I think it's just a we issue because we grew up in that transitional phase where news didn't break like it does today.
Yep.
Like we used to be surprised. Well, holy crap, this game's coming. We didn't have any idea. That's not like the kids today. because they know all things all the time because they're constantly connected and they're constantly following.
Right.
It's like a weird in between.
Right. Even 4 years ago when Final Fantasy VII was announced, the remake, and I was at
before it was in development, before it was ever a thing.
Right.
It's still kind of not a thing.
So anyway, this is the one thing I really did enjoy going to the PlayStation E3 experiences at the movie theater. So I was there for that, and as soon as it came on, and I don't have any connection to Final Fantasy VII, but as soon as people figured out that that's what it was, and the theater goes nuts, that was real. I mean, that was fun to be a part of.
I've been there. Like when I got caught off guard with Metroid, I know that feeling. I'm with you. Like I did not expect it, and bam, they hit you with something. It's awesome.
Yep.
But to go in expecting that, like, and not even expecting it, to expect that is reserved for you, that is entitlement.
Yeah.
And I know that people use that word all the time and people get defensive, but like that literally is entitlement. It's like you're basically saying, don't spoil anything for me that I don't want to be spoiled, but everything else I don't mind knowing. You know, like
right.
It's weird. Like you can't live in that reality. That reality doesn't exist.
Right.
You know, like if you're gonna follow the news, if you're gonna be plugged in, that's gonna happen.
Yep.
And if you don't want it to happen ever, then unplug. But you can't do both. You know, like you can't have it both ways.
So I'm not. Have you played the Watch Dogs games?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not nearly as much as all these folks, but yes, I have. Okay. I understand what they are.
So I'm. I mean, I kind of understand what they are, but but this one sounds. I'm far more interested in this game than I've been in either of the other Watch Dogs games. Watch Dogs Legion is set in London. You can play as any NPC you recruit in the game. Play as anyone. Every individual you meet in the open world has a full set of animations, voiceover, character traits, and visuals that are generated and guided by gameplay systems. You will see different things, and this is from, I think, Jason Schreier at Kotaku. He's heard that you'll see different things at different points in the game depending on which NPC you're playing as, which just sounds bonkers. I mean, that sounds like something.
Just throw your hat onto anybody, and you become them.
It sounds like something that is not PS4. It sounds like PS5 or Xbox 2 or whatever. It sounds next gen. If it actually delivers on what this thing says that it is. So anyway, so that sounds really cool. Anyway, Watch Dogs Legions sounds good. This weekend is E3. Hope everyone enjoys learning about whatever you are excited about. I'm anticipating whatever comes out of EA Play, just because of Apex Legends and Star Wars. Also, I'm really, as a PlayStation person, looking forward to EA Access coming, and I don't know if they'll talk any more about that or not.
Tons of third-party games you're going to be excited about. Like, there's still a lot to be excited about E3 PlayStation fan, even though they're not there.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. I'm interested in what Microsoft is doing. You know, PlayStation, by the virtue of being Sony PlayStation, doesn't automatically have my next generation attention. You know, I really am interested in what Xbox is doing and what I really don't care about the power behind everything. It's the games, and are the studios that Xbox brought on board delivering interesting experiences that I'd be looking forward to, more so than another Uncharted experience or, you know, whatever's in PlayStation's stable. So there's a lot of stuff to be interested in. Ubisoft, Square Enix, everybody will have interesting things to show. So with that, you can find us on Discord. Visit psvg.blog to find a link to our Discord. You can find Donnie at Playing Nintendo. You can find us on Twitter at PSXP Podcast. Someday I will tweet more from there at some point. Of course, you can follow the main show at PSVG and find out all the news there. And with that, you have anything else to add? Donnie? Anything?
No, man.
No?
It's my favorite time of the year. I'm super excited for everybody and all involved. Love
All
you
right.
three. Bring the leaks, bring the speculation. Let's get the news. Let's get hype. Enjoy being a video gamer. There's nothing to be upset about.
Keep an eye on the PSVG Twitter, and are we streaming Twitch streams?
Streaming most of the major events live on twitch.tv/PSVG, and then we will have podcast reactions to every one of the shows.
All right. Looking forward to it. With that, have a great week.
And though we may pledge fanboy allegiances to different flags, deep down inside we all serve one master, one king. And his name is gaming. Forever may he reign!